Yellow. Ladybug. 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 Needy pig. you missed it.
Oh no!
Yeah, he just switched it over.
Yeah.
Well. Oh well.
That was awesome. Oh, right. We can show our faces, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Boink.
The one person that joined was like, "Oh hell no, this is not a cat stream." D, you got to get in on the hottest trend and do the hot tub stream.
Hot tub.
What is a hot tub stream?
Basically, e-thoughts are doing Twitch streams where they have they're just sitting in a hot tub in a bikini, chatting with people.
Well, there you go.
D just needs to be extra hairy, like that happens.
Gonna push down for a mankini.
Okay, so what is feeding the stream? It's still Night City? Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how it kept up with all of the movement we were doing, but it did.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have figured
Although-
that the shift would have been pretty much detrimental to the max, but it wasn't.
It's still doing the object thing. We should probably figure that out.
At a later point, I mean, it's still got our name in there. I don't know what the object is about at all.
Well,
Like
that's Drew that just said that.
yeah, it's always done that. But what's weird is that mine no longer says the object anymore.
No, maybe it's because you've changed your name.
Yeah.
Mine's in there too. We just need the bill to talk to. Why you're not showing your video in Discord, but you're showing your video in? Oh wait, it was back when. Never mind. I disabled your video before. I wonder why the video on stream is mirrored. It's weird.
I don't know. I don't know
for
why it does
everybody.
that. Yeah, because it is
It's
like
for everybody, right? Yeah.
So left is right and right is left.
yeah. Don't know why.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. Okay. Tips I'm giving myself after watching myself on stream for 2 hours last night.
Make your eyebrows like this.
The whole time I'm gonna engage.
You gotta do the head deck.
I'm not gonna eat an entire bucket of those pirouette
Where you just
biscuit things that I was bent over eating, and everyone's just looking at my hairline.
That's the best. Boop.
Is that link you have to the Get Dangerous community still good? I wonder.
You have a very fair question. I'll give you that.
Discord one?
It takes you to the KXCGFFQ. Yep, that's the one that takes you to the Laser Lounge.
Yeah.
Cool. Then it still works. That's excitement.
The one that I generated for some reason is dying in 6 days. I want to not die.
Don't die.
See, Scott, what you don't get to see is that we've turned on membership screening. So if you join the server, you have to agree to our little TOS before you can even get into the server.
Oh, hey, this is what we did very manually before.
Yeah.
It's called role gating in Discord.
Discard.
Yeah.
So it worked. Discord actually recently added this membership screening thing, and they even in their FAQs is well, I use role gating for my things. You can still do that, but this is another way to do it.
Yeah. Well, we let Drew in, so clearly they're not paying attention.
Right.
Alright, I feel I left for 1 day and I came back and this whole place has been redecorated. What the hell's going on here?
that's literally
it's
it.
year 2 of Shadows.
Yeah,
so
right.
We
Yeah.
gotta gussy it up.
The shadowing.
This shadowing. Ugh.
I like it. It looks great. Give me a moment to get myself all situated. Now I feel like I should get new paper to put notes on.
You should. That is
I'm
definitely a
excited
requirement.
to see where Bill's head will pop up on the stream.
Yeah.
Because on the stream, there's 5
Well,
of us right now.
It should
gonna
just
go
shift
next-
you and me to the
Right, but will he go
but-
next to you or next to me? Or will he like
Oh,
elbow
yeah.
his way into the middle?
Well, actually, what tends to happen is D becomes in the middle, and everyone else is bukkake around him.
Yeah.
Ew. No.
Eyebrows.
It's like whenever I'm playing D2 and I start getting really laser focused and I just forget to blink. I'm like,
Yeah. That meme with the dog that's like having Vietnam War flashbacks. Or
You know,
whatever. Yeah, that happened to me during a call today, and I forgot the camera. You're like, Scott, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
oh, I forgot.
Hey,
It wigs
I hear
out.
you. I've been up since 3 a.m. staring at my computer grading, and I'm like,
Well, you
Are
know,
you
I
done?
will say that you do look like you've been doing that. I mean, like the.
You do look like shit. Yes.
I'm
Channeling
trying to be
Ivar.
Ivar tonight.
I was gonna say you're cosplaying, so there's definitely not a. It's not
I hope there's
judgment.
points for that.
Meanwhile, I've had 2 large glasses of sangria, so
I'm glad someone's celebrating.
Barrick's ready to go. Oh, also, my voice sounds better to me when I'm doing the Barrick voice, so I'm just gonna do Barrick voice all the time, and then drop to like a lower voice to do Barrick.
You're gonna do some Batman.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could have my sound card plugged in my computer because that had a native voice changer in it. Remember D when I used to sound like a girl?
I can't forget, man.
I want
You
Dee's,
tortured me with
baritone
that.
back.
Yeah, I want the baritone back.
Super deep voice to come back.
Yeah, that was nice. So I shit you not, the transformation when it like modulates my voice, you can't tell that it's a modulation. It sounds like just a girl talking, and it weaved D the hell out. It was awesome.
He's like, I mean, challenging wank, but let's do it.
Look, the funny thing is, it had my this voice still had my cadence and stuff, so that was really freaking him out because it had the same laughing and stuff, but it was all just a chick.
Oh man, yep, totally betrayed the senses. It wasn't kosher.
It's like,
You should have done it with that face app that does the gender swap too.
Oh no, I
Would've
look
been
like my
perfect.
mother when I do that. It's disturbing.
Not surprisingly, I look like my 1 year younger than me sister. So
someday I'll get a bigger motherboard and stuff for my case because my my graphics card's too thick.
That's what
It's-
she said.
No, it's literally the
Beat me
name
to
of the graphics card is thick with 2 C's. Like
there you go.
exactly, D.
Get
Exactly.
those
I
bitcoins.
think I bought a sex toy one time that was called Thick with 2 C's.
It's the new thickness, dude.
Well, we're off
Same
to a
advertising.
fucking fabulous start.
Welcome to Shadows, Season 2.
Last week.
Deep and
Last
dirty.
Last time on Shadows, Barrick drove the fuck out of all those vehicles.
Yeah, he turned wheelman pretty hardcore.
And,
It reminds me of what was that in Gone in 60 Seconds? The guy that could drive any car, and he's just like,
And we got the Z pattern from John as the gunslinger, and Ivar was having performance issues.
Well, also the Unleash the Bunny Hell.
Yeah,
Oh
he-
yeah, that didn't happen.
he had moments. All right, he had his moments.
There were a lot of zeros. It was
Yes.
like 999987111.
yeah, it was leveling off really bad.
It was great though. It played the story really well.
It was cool.
Like Ivar's gonna save the day, and
And we made a new
Ivar
friend.
don't do nothing. There's no way.
Oh, and Barrett got injured and then regenerate. So I have to remember to describe what that looks like.
Yeah, because you were able to, finally see what some of that actually appeared to be like.
And it was a burn, right?
Yep.
Got burned from flaming imp or something.
Flaming imp scat. No, so the fireballs they throw.
Oh, well, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah. Since you weren't here last, do you ever actually get a chance to watch any of the stream last weekend?
For last week? No.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks ago I started
2 weeks ago,
watching.
right? Yeah, for the, what happened while you were gone. I think you said you mentioned it or something.
I was starting to watch it. It's hard to listen to that and like do any other work, so I didn't get to listen to it much.
It's funny. I kind of listen to it like a weird podcast. I can turn it off that way.
I can't do that though. Like I have to focus in on it. Like I can't do like as much as you say I have like the tentacle brain. I have to focus and listen in.
It takes
like,
too much is what the problem is. You can't divide it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the bandwidth. The pipe is too thick.
There's that word again.
I just
that's what
made
she
a bowl
said.
of popcorn and watched for 2 hours last night.
That's what I should have done, but I haven't had time, like free time, to my computer. And anyway, I did get up to the point where you guys were escaping and left me behind. So.
Oh yeah. We're trying to find you. It's very important that we get you back.
Well, it's funny because Ivar tried like for maybe like 2 minutes was like, "Oh, we got to get her." And it's like, "No, we got to move forward." It's like, "Okay."
Ivar
don't,
lives
wait.
cold life on street.
I love that hamster roll, damn it.
Oh, so the emojis don't pop up on the stream.
Right.
They're just blank.
What the hell? I have to verify my age to go into Mighty Memes?
Yep.
Yeah.
We made it so it's not age restricted.
We've been through a lot
This is all
today.
Poppy's fault.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
I'm going to say I was born in 1976.
we figured that the dragon mainlining or railing that car was probably a reason to make that age restricted.
You know what? That's no
I'd say
excuse.
that's
I
really
come
the
here
only
for that
section-
freedom to be able to do that.
If you think Night City's free, you have another thing coming.
But freedom.
My freedoms.
Actually, another thing we did is we made it so that Shadows is only accessible if you have the street level. The street level roll.
It's
Yep.
cool, but I got bored today, so I put on a hazmat suit and went around chalking big red X's on random people's driveways. Who put that one up? Bill. Beautiful.
I do think that Mackie has a tendency to put some pretty interestingly relatable memes whenever you search them up. It's funky.
Anyway,
Yes.
so we're here.
Yeah. I mean, let's kick this shit off, shall we?
You know, one of the things
Get
you
an
should have is
echo.
It's from Drew.
Okay.
Drew's echoing.
What? Who? What? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my way around here now. All lost.
What?
So
You should,
all the stuff for Shadows is in the Shadows category.
No,
Yeah.
I know. I was being somewhat facetious.
One of these days, Deez, you have to have a scene that makes it so that we switch to like commercials. It's like we'll be back after these commercial break.
Oh, I would love to see. I would love to see commercials. Like, what kind of commercials do they have in 2076?
Oh, I can tell you.
The holographic
Your
ones.
brand.
Yeah.
I have the old like scream sheets from the show that they're all about like body mods and weapons and it's the same thing. My desktop background is the cyberpunk Night City skyscape. There's a big
Wow.
old commercial on it for Kanoshi Optical.
Nice.
Nice. Is there music being played in the stream right now?
Yep.
You have to listen to his stream though.
I am listening. I'm in on it, but I don't hear any music.
You may have to like make the stream volume go up.
I have it maxed at 200%.
Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's weird.
I hear music coming from him.
Yeah.
I hear just a little like bebopping.
Yeah.
Normally it's got a nice, pleasant like background level to make you go, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's see what this picks out. Yeah, that's smart. I can turn it up a little bit from my end too. Okay, so if we all can recall, so the main group had managed to make their run all the way out to sector 2 and got to the primary outpost where everything was being staged and run. We had Ivar do a little bit of stealthing for us in that he was able to create a sort of pseudo-reality around the area, making it appear that nothing of any importance was happening inside of this once concrete market. So, yeah, that's where the main group is. On the other hand, the big question is, where has Riff been and what has she been doing? So,
Cut back to.
yeah, well, you weren't even like that. You were somewhere else, literally.
That's right. I was being stared at by a guy with red eyes.
So, the sensation of what it's like, you can hear them moving through the portal. You're still where you began with everything, and you have this strange silhouette, and there's this odd call, and it's kind of vibrating in your chest, and it's kind of pulling you in this direction. You actually turn around, only in the like just slightly with your head rather, and see that the portal begins to close. The aperture completely seals, and you don't see them anymore. They're out of their way. And then maybe just a moment later, you feel as if you're falling downward, like the floor just completely was removed, and suddenly, and you just start feeling the velocity as it's like whipping your hair around, and you're just plummeting at a rapid speed.
What I forgot, I'm scrolling up right now. It's going to be epic scrolling.
What?
Is how many runes I had left and what powers I had active at the time.
Yeah, that will be some epic scrolling.
You had done your transubstantiation, whatever, where you could go through stuff.
Intangible, yeah.
Intangible and super speed, I thought.
I don't think I had super speed, but I'm still scrolling. Just give me a second. This is 5.
Intangible, I remember that because you popped it through.
I do remember that too.
Yeah, you would jump through one of the walls and said peekaboo.
Let's see, 513. I meant the.
You're pretty good about runes. Yeah, you're pretty good about posting your runes.
I do normally.
Oh, but I only see from 5-6.
That would be the week before. That would make sense.
Yeah. I don't see
Yep. So you've only you haven't used that many.
I'm saying I'm on 513. That was the stream that you guys did without me. Let's see here.
Oh, 5-6. You had regeneration and fireball. And you
I
had
had fireball?
6 runes. This says
Okay, sounds good.
rune 6 activating powers regeneration and fireball.
Okay, so that's what I have
Oh,
active,
wait.
I guess, right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the end.
Okay, regen, because I deactivated the intangibility because I didn't like the zombies.
Yeah, you had intangible and mana sync earlier,
Mhm.
and then you switched to regen and fireball.
Okay. Anyway, I'm falling.
Yeah. You barely hear that on the sentence, so that was really funny. Yeah, you're just at a deadfall. It doesn't. Huh?
I like I'm feeling falling. Is what you mean?
Yes. Like you're at a complete, like not terminal velocity, but you might as well have jumped out of a plane because it's pitch dark and all you're doing is just falling. And it stays like that for 6 or 7 agonizing seconds before you start feeling your gut and body just kind of slow down, the inertia making all your organs feel like they're slapping the inside of your rib cage. And you come to a slow resting stop onto something solid.
I want to do an awareness check. What the hell's around me? Let's see.
Roll that footage.
$21.
21.
It seems that things are beginning to expand in terms of your awareness. At your feet, there is an uneven, natural-looking stone that's almost red and brown in its coloring and expands outward. You find yourself standing on this incredible island. What appears on the outside horizons seems to be sort of distant space for a while, and then this thundering, smoky-like, persistent cloud that is just everywhere. You actually kind of recognize it as being something of purgatory from back in a while back, just before landing inside of North Carolina. There is something else here with you at the same time.
Do I see it?
Not yet. You can feel its presence, though. And you can hear the subtle, quiet thundering of all that force and you don't know what. Maybe raw chaos? It's hard to say.
Hey, Kimmy. So I'm gonna look around. I'm looking for the presence now. Like I'm looking for hostiles. I'm in combat mode.
Mm-hmm.
The hell's going on?
Right.
What do I? I mean, you said I'm on an island. Is there any other features? Is there places I can go, or is the island small enough that I can walk around?
It's wide. Yeah, it's more than wide enough. It's hundreds of feet across. There aren't any hills or anything that would actually
So it's just flat.
give you cover. Yeah, it's just completely flat, and it exists in some kind of floating miasma of gray and tumultuous smoke with lightning crossing through it all over the place, with just enough light for you to be able to see everything as if it were close to evening. But it's all fluctuating, and there is definitely, like I said, there's something here with you, but you can't physically see it.
Ice Maiden. The Purge. Well, I mean, my first instinct is to see what happens when I chuck a fireball out into the wilderness.
All right.
In any direction that feels natural to me.
All right. You just kind of turn to your left, turn to your right a little bit, and then you hurl one of these fireballs straight out and across.
Or just
Nope.
Yeah.
You
Not
just
aiming at
boom.
anything. So.
Yep.
Does the cloud cover change at all?
Well, it's at a great distance, and you can't really see anything quite below the horizon of the actual island in and of itself. But, I mean, you hurl it out, nothing seems to strike, and then something in your mind is kind of almost like low or bassy wind chimes kind of just bonging in the back of your head. Something is beginning to materialize not too far from where you stand now. Maybe 50 feet? Starting to coalesce like
I'm throwing
dark
a fireball
vapor.
at it.
All right. You can roll this time.
Yeah. If I remember right, that's melee, right?
Mm-hmm.
19.
All right. Dogs for ambience. So, yeah, I mean, you chuck this thing, and it goes right towards its target. You can see it warble as it passes through, and the shadow or silhouette finally forms all the way, staring out over its shoulder, watching the flaming ball just go by. And then it looks back towards you as tilts its head. I suppose I'm going to have to work on that.
Who the fuck are you? Where the fuck am I? That's first thing she says.
Yep.
Why is it I can just see her saying that in the sassiest, like, throw back her hair, like, the fuck are you? Like, just that sassy way, like, blondes sometimes are like, I'm better
mean,
looking than you.
oh, I don't think she thinks she's bad, but I guess she does. Yeah.
In my mind, that's how that line came out.
That's pretty much what I was thinking, yeah.
Well, to answer one of the questions, we're not necessarily much of anywhere. It's kind of in between. You should recognize it.
Oh, I do. I don't like it, though.
Nobody should like it, especially if they are. This is the place for people who are not, or things that are not.
Well, seems you've got me by the short hairs.
I wanted to help. But I suppose I have to work on my introductions.
Coming out of nowhere after being transported, yeah, you might want to work on that.
Some of it is inescapable. So,
So what she does after he says that is she literally like she's standing and she just plops cross-legged on the ground with her hands on her knees or her gauntlets on her knees, just like kind of sitting like this. It's like, all right, she's listening is what that means.
So, you sit, and this entity approaches at a steady walk, not going too fast. As it does so, features become much more crisp, but much more resembling of something real and tangible. You see perfectly black pressed slacks, a nice shirt, there's a longer coat, and the hair that's sort of flowing downward near towards the shoulder level there is well kept, but there's almost like a breeze happening that doesn't exist. It seems that most of the air here is stagnated. But as it comes up to you, its approach, there's pale skin on its face. It's wearing gloves. The only place you really see flesh is the neck and head. No mouth of any kind. Nose still. But where the eyes are, it's like it's liquid rippling mercury. And it's just...
And when you say there's no mouth, is it just skin over that?
Yep, just
Okay.
skin.
So he's a Protoss.
Kinda, yeah.
So as he's you said it.
Yes.
As it approaches, she looks up and she kind of like grimaces at taking in all those features. And is like, you should work on that too. just that.
And he's like, I apologize. The appearance, I guess I just don't understand the reason for most of it.
Would that be creepy?
He's like, he just points. Of course, you can hear him like he's talking, but there's nothing happening. But he indicates your face is like strange waves coming out of that orifice in the front of your face. It doesn't quite make sense.
It is my moving meat flaps.
It just nods as if it is like saying, yes, I understand what you're saying, but it seems to kind of go over his head. I know where the rest of your comrades are, but I wanted to give you a small hint, something that could be useful. Everything here is broken, and there is one who recently moved into purgatory, I think you called it.
She nods slowly and just like she understands.
You're both on the same wavelength at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, my brothers and sisters are drunk with their own freedom. And he like leans down in front of you, letting those like mercury eyes just penetrate into your body, basically. They do not understand.
When it does that, she fires off her last fireball just over his shoulder, not targeting him or doing anything, like just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's her reaction is just like, that is too creepy. I need to do something.
In the chamber.
He just watches the flaming ball of fire go and then turns back to you. So, I would like to ask permission. Is that the word?
she's still sitting like she was sitting like this,
Mhm.
and when he said that, she kind of gets this. She starts doing this, like she closes her eyes and starts doing this with her forehead, and she's talking to herself. It's like, I feel like I remember someone saying about permission. What do you want? What is it?
To give you something that will make certain that nothing more traumatic will happen to this reality. A
And
small
what's the permission I'm giving?
for me to give it to you. It will require access to your mind.
That gives her pause.
He waits. Seems like patience isn't a problem for him. The ultimate in impulsivity, the ultimate in patience.
It's she's just trying to react because that seems like a pretty monumental thing. And it's just, as she's like thinking, now she's doing two. It's like, and if I say no,
Then it will be very complicated to explain it verbally.
Ooh, mind meld.
and she sits there and she's like, just a second.
Ooh.
So, so she's like, it's like, okay, I need a second opinion on this. And she just throws her gauntlet upwards, and the Iron Golem lands right next to her. And she turns the Iron Golem, and I know it's completely featureless. And it's like, what do you think I should do?
It does this whole thing where it's like shrink like that goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Says nothing but makes those gestures.
Oh, here, let me put this in here.
Always a good thing, and even better is that if something were to go wrong, you'd literally have a third party to attack him. Like,
Like, well, she looks around. It's like, I don't really see a way out of here. You're here. Yeah, I give you permission.
he just nods. And he holds out his hands, both like this.
Like towards me.
Yeah, reaching out
Okay.
towards you to have you put your hands
Well,
in
she's
his.
looking at her right hand, and it's ungauntleted. It's like, just a second. She reaches into her pack and pulls out some sanitizer. Alright.
He like takes your hands in his and he goes, "Now say, ah."
Out of character, I really want to go. "Ah!" What she's actually gonna do is, ah.
Yeah, you go, ah, and that slight opening of your mouth, you actually feel the intrusion hit like a wave. Except for in this case, whatever it was that you offered permission for, you don't resist it. It's just try to imagine the sensation of breathing
Don't
in.
say daddy.
Try to imagine the sensation of breathing in mud, but it not killing you. But you can feel how difficult it is to pass the material from, the sinus, the mouth, the lungs, the rest of it. But you're feeling this on the etheric level, almost like your soul is trying to gasp for breath. And when that happens, when you finally take that deep inhalation, there is this sudden blackout. What you're introduced to next, you can't really perceive from the normal standpoint. You become but see and smell and sense all of these changes happening all at once in this massive kaleidoscope of geometric and mathematical chaos. And it all winds together. You are the object and you're observing it simultaneously. You're actually feeling it and each particle of that object fitting itself together like a cylinder, but composed of nearly trillions of complex variables and algorithms. And yeah, your sanity starts to kind of do this and expand to a point where you can kind of like almost hardly keep it together. So, sanity check here.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
my
ask.
god,
Like a
what the
For our viewers at home, we are sharing inappropriate raucous gifts in the channel.
Oh man, this is too good. I like.
And congratulations, Bill, for leveling up.
Oh man, what a way to level up too.
It's all been every time.
If I remember right, I do a 1D. I do a 1D 100, and I'm trying to get under my sanity level.
Yes, you're trying to. And your sanity's at a deficit. It's negative 20%. So hopefully you make it.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize this. I guess that makes sense. I'm not in a good place.
No.
100.
God damn it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my sanity is at 50%, so I think that's well within my range.
Yeah, that is way.
I
Yeah.
kept it together.
Dang.
Yeah, you anchored on something. You have no idea what.
My golem.
Maybe.
Yeah, your golem just helped.
I reached
ease you
out,
up.
and it's like, ah.
This transaction of raw information, raw existential information, is, for lack of better terminology, downloaded directly into your very being. It's not just your mind, it's not just your intellect. You understand this as intrinsically as you understand your own physicality. There is an innate nature to it. And you're not just saying ah anymore, because everybody else, you'll just hear it. Like this long running scream almost, and then it just dies down. And then when you finally snap back into your normal physical form and not this like undulating reality that is constantly fluxed, you're standing outside. Jesus Christ. This is wrong.
You're just describing it, man.
You're killing Bill, though.
I think Bill's killing Bill, because that fucking GIF, man. Oh my god.
Tyra Banks. What a
yeah.
fall from grace.
I know, right?
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. The undulating reality, aka the visualizer on Winamp.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you finally snap out of it, and then you take in a breath like you haven't actually been breathing for an extended period of time. Wow. That just goes right along the whole thing where, like, pretty much all animators must be horny. Like...
Yeah, really.
That was made in the, I think, in the 30s.
Yeah,
20s or 30s.
that would make sense. Uh-huh.
There we go. Clear that out.
Excellent.
Okay. So, yeah, you're just standing out there, and you are physically shaken to the point where you now just kind of, like, try to keep yourself steadied up, because it's like you have to relearn all the rules of how your own body works for several minutes. But depending on how the crew reacts, you've got Draven on the inside hearing the like, and then then as it dies down, almost like somebody just taking that volume and just doing mirror. And
then a clank because my golem's there too.
well, that is also accurate because it's just standing there, kind of staring at Riv, who's just kind of like trying to stabilize herself. And, Draven is looking out the window, and I see him just pull something from out of, like, it doesn't look like he had anything on his person, but he ends up pulling something, and he has a sidearm, long-barreled, a lot thicker than your normal, revolver. Something about it is definitely arcane, but he's got it pointed out the window, and he's like, friend? Or not?
John kind of looks out the window, kind of puts his hat out and says, "Took your time."
You're hearing John through this, like, wobbling field where you can't even see him.
Yeah. I probably don't respond. It's just...
Yeah.
So, Derek's gonna chirp over comms. Be like, Riv, is that you?
He's still just like, what?
And Ivar's looking over thinking this is just a hallucination. And so Ivar's just... Are you seeing this too?
Yes, we're seeing this. It's Riv. We're gonna do an occult check on see if John can figure out how to snatch Riv out of this.
Okay.
So let's see, where's my occult? It's on page 33 of the character.
Thanks, Scott. Super famous.
What's wrong with Riv? Oh, didn't we lose Riv? I thought she had gone reconnaissing.
And his head's still out the window. He says, "Yes, we lost Rib. Now we're trying to figure out how to get her back. Now, just let me concentrate."
Can't Ivar just lower his shield and let Riv in?
19.
And that was an
No,
occult
not
roll, right?
work that way.
Yeah.
This place is unfindable. That's what you wanted.
Oh, yeah. Just let me focus.
You found it.
Well, you're looking out there and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with Riv, but you can't come up with an exact reason for what's happening. It looks like she's suffering some kind of like temporary seizure. She seems to acknowledge you at least vaguely, because like you're kind of like speaking through the window, and she just kind of looks back your way. And
Okay. We're
Here,
gonna.
get out of my way. Let Ivar see what's going on here. And Ivar just kind of pokes out.
Ivar leveled up.
Yeah, there you go.
yay! Ivar levels.
Wonderful. With a 23 occult, is Ivar just kind of peeking around.
Wait.
What's going on?
Why are you rolling a d12?
I'll tell you why in a second after he's done talking.
Oh wait, I got confused. I saw like Drew's like level 1, and I'm like, why is he rolling a
Drew's
d12?
swinging a battle axe. It's a D12.
Is how we roll. What's going on? Ivar's like, keep in mind, Ivar's trying to hold this bubble reality that he made, but at the same time, he's like peeking out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you can stare out of it. It's like a one-way mirror. So you see Riv
What?
standing on the outside of the building, kind of trying to hold her shit together.
What
Well,
happened
so
with
what-
Bill's roll?
Like I said, with Bill, in this case, like you can't really determine exactly what's happened with her. It looks more medical than occult.
Okay.
So
Well-
that's was going to trigger John to cast 2 levels of light, 1 life of prime. So he's gonna stabilize Riv with 3 Arete.
Okay.
I can just
What would
touch
you-
Riv. Would you like me to touch her? I'd really like to touch her.
No, we know you'd like to touch Riv, but no, let's just. He's like, let me do this, and then he just kind of he goes like this. See, no touchy, and just wiggles his fingers as like green mist just kind of like goes from his fingers.
While you were doing that, Riv, while trying to like get her shit together, instinctively just started using her runes because she's had them for so long, and it's like that's her addiction. She just uses it even without consciously knowing. And she sits down, cross-legged again, just because that's a comfortable position for her. And then what you guys see is she got rid of her regeneration, and then the celestial wings came out and just like enveloped her like protectively. That's just she's like it looks like a cocoon right now because she's just like so.
This is very weird. Perhaps it's hallucination. Should we shoot it?
No, Ivar, no, we're not shooting it. He's still wiggling his fingers as the green mist is going towards Riv. So,
Jack,
what
what do you think? You've dealt with crazy.
do you want me
before.
to roll?
Oh, it's Riv. I heard her on comms.
That's what those voices were? I thought they were voices in Ivar's head.
Oh my
In
god,
your
they
ear.
are in your head. It's called the transmission of sound. So 3d10. What's my target?
Give the golem wings.
Sometimes Ivar does not know real
it's gonna
from
be 6,
fake. That's
actually.
a really big problem with that.
So 3 degrees is a success.
Nice.
I loved that show.
That was a good show.
We moved you from the castle and put you on Iron Man's palace. Tony Stark is going to run the whole thing and he'll protect the city.
All right. So what were you casting one more time, Bill, to make sure I have this right?
Basically, it was a stabilizing life spell.
Hmm.
So is using
Right.
Prime to kind of boost it to act like that, hey, the core center of existence.
Right.
Like
You're
that
trying to
core
anchor it.
energy. Yeah, trying to anchor and like heal. It's like a nebulous kind of thing.
Well, in this case, I mean, what that'll do is that it just more or less causes a soothing kind of impact on the body. Like it reorganizes that sudden fear and the fact that she was more or less physically nothing and everything all at the same time. That's not something the body's meant to experience. So she wound up kind of like going into shock, and that does manage to anchor her down. So you're basically like shrouded and then opening up your wings a little bit, realizing that you're fine.
John just kind of looks at Riv and goes, "Hey, you okay? You maybe want to get into the vehicle away from the hellish hellscape that's trying to kill us?"
Am I cognizant now, D?
Yes, you are.
Okay. She just looks around and is like,
Yeah, and he's going like, "Yes, in the car, Riv. Let's go."
she
Riv.
sees the wings on her and looks over at her golem, like comfortingly. It's like, okay. And then she flips up into the air. Just how high is the ceiling where we're at right now?
It's pretty high. Like you've got like 2 kilometers at its center, and it winds down. So you've got
I
one.
don't think this is Riv. I am not convinced.
Oh, it's Riv, for the love of everything that you hold dear in this life, Ivar, including
So
Boo.
there's a vehicle that I can jump in.
Well, I mean, you're sitting right outside the shop where they were. You just can't really tell where they're at. You're hearing them on comms, but yes, there's a vehicle
I
that's
couldn't
like,
see them.
yeah, you couldn't see them inside the thing because Ivar hadn't like opened a window or anything to let you look into the reality of it. But you know that they're there. They're talking to you on comms. He said something about a vehicle. There's one that's parked right outside the building here.
That's yeah. So when I expertly parked. When I fly up, I'll see it and I'll just kind of alight on top of it, and it's like, where the hell are you guys?
Of course, Dravis at this point is like staring at the window. Like, you might want to get her inside. She's going to start attracting a lot of attention.
Riv. And he just reaches.
Hold on, Ivar's got this.
Make a lasso or something.
Truth, lasso of truth.
What's it gonna take for Ivar to just make a portal to like open a portal and drop Riv into the room without dropping the our protective shield?
That's not going to be terribly difficult because they're in the same space. They occupy the same space. So you just basically go bleep, like that. You just have a hole, and she just dropped through the ceiling.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Ivar's like, wait, I got this.
Blue, orange.
Yeah. Now you're thinking of portals. Well, I would guess she's sitting in the car with you guys, and she'll stick her arm out the window, and the gauntlet will come back and just
Yep.
like very Iron Man.
Ivar just stares at Riv and goes, "How does Ivar know that you are who you say you are?"
Can you give me some power?
Okay. And charges you up like nothing's wrong.
Yep. You see the entire crew here. The difference is that you also see someone else you don't recognize among them. He stands slightly taller. He's right around 6'5". He's covered in scars. He looks like he's wearing military, like casual wear because he's just got the tank top, the fatigues, and the combat boots, and he's got some sort of strange weapon in his hand where it looks like a revolver, but the metal is black. It's also got some kind of like runic inscriptions all over it, which do have a faint glow of red attached to all of them. But he's just standing there with this ready position, kind of eyeballing very carefully.
Riv, can we introduce you to Draven? Draven, we present to you the magnificent, and I know this personally, Riv.
D, is he conventionally attractive?
Conventionally?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of like that hardcore rough kind of attractive, yeah. Because he's got like scars and he's muscular, yeah.
So the first thing she says, "How you doing?"
He's like, all right, you're not a threat then. You're like,
Hell. And then John's just kind of sitting back, kind of closing his eyes, going, "Well, define threat."
So,
Son, are you okay?
Derek has.
Do you need medical attention?
I just went through something. Did I learn anything in that existential line?
Yes, you've learned something. Can you describe it? Pretty difficult. You have a strong sensation, though, that it has something to do with the very same trap that everybody had spent so much time designing.
So, I somehow made it to purgatory, I think. I met someone that said that, in his own words, something's happening. And then I got here. It's hard to describe.
So
What's happening?
John's eyes are still closed, and he says, like, yes, what Ivar said. What is happening? What more? What blessed more things can happen?
Wait, did just a correction? Did Riv say she was in purgatory? Like, is that knowledge known by the rest of us?
She just said it out loud that she thinks that she was just in purgatory, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember if it was. Sorry, I'm getting the fatigue. Ivar just goes, look, you were back in purgatory?
I don't know. I could have just had really bad acid, but I don't remember dropping.
You have acid?
Because you fell. Riv was falling.
Well, but they didn't know that. The
No,
last
I'm
thing you guys.
saying. So you were falling and then landed on an island.
I fell and landed somewhere, and I talked
No.
to someone
Who
who,
did you talk to?
he looked like an alien.
I'm just curious, in this description of this person, D, is this the person that Ivar met when he talked to the medium that gave us the passes to the crossroads?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
He
John,
had black eyes and no mouth, but he was dressed really nice. Kind of reminded me of the gentleman.
Let's do an occult. D19, right? Rib special.
D19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rib special.
Met someone.
19.
When they ask you
Is
the
that-
name, and that was
Oh,
a
he
roll
didn't
for
give me
what?
a name.
No, you didn't, but I'm going to correct that because it's going to be in your mind all of a sudden.
Oh,
Silence.
What was the roll for there, Bill?
Based off the description.
oh, I'm guessing I'm gonna give a name. So while she's talking, she kind of gets a weird look on her face, and she tries just wait, I think I know his name, and then she tries spitting it out, but it's not good for her tongue, kind of thing. She's like, Lazi. Is that how you pronounce it, D?
Yeah, in Lazi.
Okay, I was close.
Gonna just assume that's some demon or angel creature because I have no idea what that is.
I'm. My intuition tells me that he's actually part of the Outsiders. The way he described his fellows made it sound like, yeah, that's my intuition. I don't know if I'm right,
Fantastic.
but he did say, or it did say, that someone has recently moved to Purgatory that we're after. So I guess they're trying to help? I don't know.
Field?
So what did exactly Imlazi say to you? Specific, be very, very specific.
And then as she's talking, she's just like, oh shit. She looks over at John and she just backs away a little bit, scoots away.
Not quite that. That's good.
So what she says is she's like, John, don't get mad. I may have given him permission for something.
Oh God.
I don't know. I might be tainted now. Is there a way someone can check my soul, make sure I'm good?
Who would want your soul? That's the question.
Sure, she has a perfectly good soul, John, okay?
We're not debating that one. 2, again, specifically. What did they say?
D, can you recount?
All-
Fuck us.
All that you'd be able to put out, we'll just say that she goes through everything that she can possibly describe, okay? Because and this is where the insanity obviously kicked over.
They're drunk on freedom?
They're drunk on freedom.
So basically, you have a bunch of outsiders drunk on freedom, where we have one outsider who just looks at them and thinks they're all idiots.
Sounds like you.
I feel for this one. I really do. I don't know why. And he just kind of looks at Ivar for a
Yes.
second, looks at Rib.
Exposition.
And Rib
Eric.
just...
He says-
Ivar says, do you think that Imlazi is a friend of ours?
I don't think any outsiders are friend.
I don't think
But
he
I
even
don't-
understands the concept of friendship.
But I don't think he really wants them to have their freedom either.
Well, he's a rationalist.
I don't think you can define rationalism with them. They live in a different reality.
You see what it did to Riv's head, which is already messed up. I don't think it's rational, or that it understands us.
On my
or
way
that it
here,
cares.
however I got here, I feel like I understood things that I can't put into words.
I have a question here. Ivar has his touch of nirvana, which is meant to heal and friendly bring calm and everything to whoever he touches. Can he use it to restore a little bit of Riv's sanity?
I kept my sanity together.
Yeah, she managed
I just don't know
it.
how to describe whatever.
Yeah,
But
and
like to calm Riv down enough for it to just sometimes when you're you can't put together, but it's almost to give him that calming nirvana feel of clarity.
There I go again.
Yep. You can. I mean, she's not injured. I mean, it'll just give her a nice sense of warmth, and it'll probably just be more reaffirming. But either way, you've got Ivar doing this, and the discussion kind of continues for a minute. Dravis just goes to the window again. He's like, we're not going to get another opportunity if we keep up this conference, whatever this is. But we have things that we have to take care of, and we can't be sitting on our hands.
We're going to go 8 degrees of success on the touch of...
Can I get like a
Of Nirvana.
holy fuck? Because Christ.
Damn, dude.
Last time you were
I'm
rolling this shit, you
feeling-
were like
wait,
0.
And that exploding 10 did not
Yeah.
re-roll.
I think it suffices to say I'm feeling quite calm.
Oh yeah.
It's like, all right, so let's move on. Like, we'll dissect whatever the hell happened to me later. Seems like we need to move.
Yeah, because Dravis is staring out the window still, just kind of like, because you realize this, Riv, as you come into it a little bit more focused now. Kind of like taking a hardcore shot of like calm the fuck down for reasons unknown. Just kind of hits you like that. But you're inside of what looks to be perhaps a market? Small little quick mart maybe. There are shelves and a lot of dilapidated type structures in here. However, in the far corner, you can see there is a sort of large armored locker, which the door is open. There seems to be a metal rod, and there is arcane all over it. Then there are 2 crates, which seem to have supplies. Then you take notice of the fact that there are dead soldiers with uniforms you don't recognize and armor that seems a bit different than what you've normally seen most private mercenaries use.
All right. Well, considering she's like the most chill she's ever been in her life, she just takes that all in
Mm-hmm.
and just lets it wash over her. It's like, what's with the magic rod over there?
Final part of the sealing spell, something that we've been trying to work on, Firestorm and the rest of us. And Firestorm finally chimes in through your comms, which is a surprise because he's also an addition that you didn't have before.
You're
Oops,
muted.
you're muted, sir.
Scott. Ow.
Well, let's just get this
still
taken
muted.
care of then.
Is your mic dead?
There we go.
Okay.
There you go.
No, I'm picking up something even though I'm not talking, so I had muted the mic physically. Oh yeah, Riv, Firestorm's another AI we picked up.
You're vaguely.
It's been
Oh, go ahead.
very helpful.
Yeah, and I am a little bit mistaken, but more or less, like Riv would have had some vague memory of it. It feels like a million years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like, yeah. At least 3 weeks ago.
But Firestorm helped get us here. And has a pretty good map of the station.
I'm good. Let's roll with it. Seems like we're in a rush. Let's go.
You got Firestorm over comms again. It's like, well, Riv, nice to meet you. This is Firestorm speaking. And to everyone else, Dravis isn't wrong. It seems that there is going to be a bit of a collection heading your way. They seem to flock like this. I'm not sure what the deal is. But I guess demons might be slightly migratory, or they might be picking up on some kind of change in the greater space-time continuum. I'm not really sure. However, we still have about 1,000 meters or so before you can actually reach the base checkpoint for placing that rod. And you're going to have to take somebody who's at least semi-savvy in arcane quantum mechanics.
And then you just see John just go, oh, fuck.
Are there any
Just doing a cult
rifles
roll
or
to
anything
see-
like that around?
I'm glad you asked.
Just thinking Barrick might want something with a higher fire rate than 6 clicks.
Does Ivar's 24 show that he has knowledge of this occult metaphysics, physical?
Well, actually, surprisingly, you guys are really well fit as far as the arcane element's concerned. Even Riv might be able to pull it off. That's the funny part.
24 too.
Eh.
You guys copied each other's notes.
Yeah.
Ivar sits there and all of a sudden he looks at John and starts doing this.
And then before he does that, John's already done this.
I mean, I figure we're all gonna go, right?
All right. So ooh.
Somebody's going to have to stay back and hold off cluster.
So you go
Others have to go in.
No,
And we might
cluster's
need-
my job.
and he's just like, we're going to have to make sure that you bring something heavy depending on whatever it is that's going to be going out there. Now, listen. I can actually go out into vacuum. I'm pretty sure that the status is still the same. Firestorm, can you give me a sit rep on that location still? Right out of the checkpoint. Firestorm chimes in, checking. It would appear that vacuum is still the problem. If any of those vac suits are still worthy or viable, I would say you've only got 2 members of that new team of yours who could possibly pull it off, depending on their size and weight. I think Ivar might be challenged a bit.
Ivar's just kind of looking at those vac suits. How many are there?
2.
Are there any others that are like damaged?
All of them are damaged, besides those 2.
How many total?
There are 6 others, because this was a team... Well, I'm sorry. There were 5 others. Nope, I was right. 6 others.
Ivar have idea. Ivar can fix these.
You can't.
Ivar
cast
would
Mend in
like
wrong
to-
game.
No, what Ivar is actually thinking of doing is almost shifting reality to put those and like reverse time on them. So any damage or anything would almost go back to making them pristine again.
Well, it would be a persistent effect, because remember, if you lose concentration or your range, it goes right back to where it was.
Is that something that John could use with matter? And use matter to mend?
Yeah, he could try and do that, but it would be complicated and risky, because if he doesn't get it right, the vacuum seal won't work.
Okay. Well, we're just going to do it too. And fine, I'll do it.
You guys, it's only 1 kilometer away.
It's really long. That's right. Like 1,000 meters.
That's like 10 teleports for you.
Well, if we must do it, we will do it. Perhaps Ivar will stay and become eyes with Barrick and blow things up. I still have a couple rabbits left.
Okay, Riv. You ready? And you just see John smile. But the smile is just like the normal smile, but the teeth look a little bit more pointier than usual.
He doesn't really even notice that. She's just like, yeah. It starts putting on the suits.
All right, so we've got Riv putting on one. Who's taking the other? Was it
John.
John? Okay. So you guys start to throw on those suits, and it's like, all right then, that leaves me with guard duty with him and him. Like looking at Ivar and Barrack, he's like, "What are you looking for exactly over there?" Speaking to Barrack.
Right now I've got this, and he just pulls out a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's very effective at blowing things up, but if we've got a swarm coming, I have 6 shots and I have to reload, so we've got something that can just continuously fire, even if it's not as nice. Might make things easier for those two.
I think I might actually have something for you. Gotta find one.
Actually, this whole time I've been acting as if I have to reload after 6, like it's a revolver or something. I was looking at my equipment, like, oh, it says it holds 10. I can just do 6 shots in a turn. So my guess is I'm firing 6 and then reloading those 6 so that I always have a full.
I feel like Ivar is going to be helping you make those bullets a lot bigger.
Or just like an ammo feed.
All right. He's like, yeah, I've got something for you.
Ooh, that'd be good. Reality shift new bullets right into the chamber for you.
So he comes, he goes around the big locker, towards the back of the actual shop, disappears around the back corner for a moment, and he comes walking out, and he's got a larger rifle that kind of sticks out like so. It's big. It's a battle rifle for sure. He's just sort of like, you seem to think, I think you probably know your way around weaponry from the looks of things. I'm just making a guess. Could you figure this out? And he hands this rifle to you. Now it's got a thick, like the grip here for the front part of it, nice and weighted. There isn't a lot of attachment to it. You would think that maybe because of its size and everything else, that there would have been like maybe a grenade launcher, 400mm grenade launcher attachment, shotgun, something, but no, not even a flashlight. This is much thicker. It's at the barrel going out, and it's a little boxy, but you pick it up and its weight isn't terrible. There seems to be a pretty good amount of weight towards the back where the buttstock is and over the top of the triggering system. When you look at it, there is some kind of holographic ammo feed. And he's just like, if you can make something out of that, you might be able to use it. Let's see if you can figure it out.
Right. Alright, what should I roll for this? Like a tech or a rifle or what?
You can roll tech and rifle. Just do them both.
Okay. Basic tech or advanced?
Tech?
Do you want a basic tech or advanced tech?
It's probably going to be in the realm of advanced tech, yes.
Alright.
Advanced tech.
Nice.
And let me see, rifle is 19.
Oh, yeah.
The 19 on rifle.
All right, so you pick it up. You're like, all right, here we go. We've got safety over here. This is our actual energy readout. Looks like it seems to cycle through some kind of capacitive energy cell, and you go there and you basically tap the side of it. You can see the cell just goes, pops out the side. You pull it, pop it back in. It rotates on its own, just goes, seals back up again. You can hear it whir back up. It takes about 1.5, 2 seconds tops. And you can feel the whole thing just kind of does this really subtle little vibration. So it's almost like haptic feedback in the gun. And when you feel that, you're like, I think it's kind of ready. And you can touch the trigger, feels pretty good. Everything else, you hold it up, and you realize that there is like some kind of angle version for the sight. Because when you pull it up, you can see the sight come into view, but you angle it down and it disappears, and it seems to be angle focused.
That's badass.
Because of the way that it's set up, you can hear, like, when you pull it up here, your heightened hearing can actually pick up the power of the weapon in it. And he's like, yep, basically you got that. It's got a 600-foot lethal range, easy. Most shots have a tendency to bloom out past that point, but it'll lay down quite a lot of fire.
This will definitely do the trick.
Yep. And then you take a look at the side, and you've got burst and full auto. There is no single fire.
Sounds good.
You got a pulse rifle.
Yeah.
Actually, he got the plasma rifle.
That thing's awesome.
So,
Okay.
sounds good. I'll make myself available to take up position when it's go time.
Oh, it's go time.
So for your sheet there, this thing has a rate of fire of 3 to 30, depending on your preference. You can fire 3 burst shots, so basically you can do upwards of like 9 burst fire shots. And then you can also do full auto for full 30 rounds. It's got 100 charge capacity. He hands you at least 3 more cells. Psychotically, it will give you a +3 to your normal accuracy of whatever it is that you're going to be using to fire the weapon, just because of the sight and everything else.
Are there any like jars with like nuts and bolts or any like hardware?
Not
laying around the
really.
store?
No, nothing like that. And
Is there a cash register?
in a sense, but everything was electronic, so no cash.
Oh, no change, nothing like that.
Nope.
Are there little toffees?
Yeah, there is something like that. So, and you'll it's damage is 60 points per bolt at an AP 5.
Damn.
Yep.
They do some damage.
Yep.
And it shoots bolts of 3 in its burst.
Yeah, it's got a 3-round burst or full auto for 30 rounds in every round.
Ooh.
So it fires
Cool.
fairly rapidly, you know.
Yeah.
Ivar looks really close at Barrick and goes, "Is that a tear from your eye, Barrick?"
We'll see.
See him.
We don't get to use things like this back in the city, so you
And-
know.
You got
John's just kind of suiting up and everything else, and he's got like he's holding the bar over his shoulder, going, okay.
So Dravis comes over to where you're at,
Move as much with it, but we'll see.
and he just kind of acknowledges that. He's just like, "Well, we're going to be down a tight space fighting off who knows how many. That's our part. We get to defend those two. Because once we go outside the actual docking bay, we've only got about 600 meters before it turns to solid vacuum. Which is where you two come in. Just like I said before. Well, actually, this is going to be new for you. I mean, it's like, you have to plant it in the exact coordinates given on the readouts that you have inside those suits. I'll have Firestorm port it over. Lodge that thing down into the earth, down into the surface, only to about the midway point. And then, John, you remember the incantation from the briefing before she showed up?
Clento, Ferocta, Nictu?
Only Firestorm in your head's like, ha, that's hilarious. Because
Thank you, Firestorm.
Barrick's gonna be like, "Hey, I know that one."
What did he say?
Are you asking out of character?
Yeah, I'm just curious what.
Oh, he's
that was
referring to
about.
Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell. Klaatu!
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Varata! Yeah.
You must have said it exactly precisely right. Otherwise, you would have invited doom upon us all. So he just he recites the words right back to Draven after he did his little sarcastic quip.
I mean, it's like, okay, well, that'll work. Just remember, you have to stay in contact with that long enough to make sure that the circuit connects. You'll be sort of indisposed while that's happening. If, for any reason, it gets removed, you have to start all over again. You're going to be a sitting duck, which means that you're going to have to make sure that he doesn't get clipped before this whole thing can get finished.
How far will they be from us, from the rest of the group?
400 to 500 meters, and in pure vacuum, which is why you won't be able to go there unless you're constantly suspending your own atmosphere.
So it's outside of Ivar's range.
Yep, way outside.
No, I can't do that. Okay, yeah.
Do my best.
Well, it better be good enough, or we're all fucked.
No pressure.
I mean,
Never is.
Riv, you can always repeat the words. No.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And that's why.
Well, then we better get ourselves ready together. 10 minutes, and then we move out. Let's go.
Move, go.
He is military. It's kind of in his system.
Yeah.
Because John goes, stick.
Yeah. Firestorm is basically giving you guys minor updates, sit reps, things like that, just throughout that 10-minute period. All right, now's the time. There's also a very large shotgun with 6-round capacity that basically whenever it's put to its muzzle and butt up in the air, stands up to like close to Ivar's shoulder because he's shorter, isn't he? I believe he's like in the 5 foot something range.
Noble height.
Oh God.
Oh,
No, that was the Dawn who's a noble height. He's Rubenesque. That's all we know. Yeah, we could say he's a shorter guy. He's like a Danny DeVito.
Yeah. So
Well, he doesn't have to be 4'11".
Yeah, so he's shorter, but it comes up to here. But, I mean, the weapon is massive. And, Dravis is looking down, looks at him, is like, should I even be able to trust you with something like this? Looking at Ivar's like, or should I give it to him?
As Barrick and John go, no.
What would Ivar have to roll to see if he knows how to use this bad boy?
What's your rifle skill, if any?
I have no rank in it, but he's a 7.
So you've never really fired that kind of a firearm. It's not you're like, I don't know, point and click. Like that's the best you got.
Ivar just looks at him and goes, "Do you just have the bullets for it? Could I have those?"
He just looks down. And he's just like, what? Waste the ammunition on nothing?
You're not wasting it on Ivar. Ivar know what to do with it.
Like he looks over at
No.
Barrick like he's crazy, but just kind of checks to see if it's legitimate.
He has a way of manipulating reality. I'm sure he can fashion himself either a new gun or make his arm into a gun, or I don't know.
Or make the bullets into birds that attack the enemy. I mean,
Yeah,
shit gets
he's-
weird. Just run with it.
Okay. And he just like takes the weapon up, leans down towards the, like near where the ground is, and just pops all the shells out of the rifle, puts it into the locker, collects all those, and hands him half of another box. Mind you, these are 10 gauge shells. They're huge.
Ivar pulls out his magic slingshot.
Yeah. They sound like gunfire too.
Oh. In a totally cinematic sense, that would be wicked.
All right, here's what Ivar's gonna do.
Uh-oh.
Is that thing's gonna start shooting off those bullets.
Oh god. But you do have those tattoos.
Yeah, like I just see Ivar taking those shells and at some point just start flicking them, but he puts that extra little oomph on them and they go
Muzzle
flying.
flash. Just like, BAM! Like this.
Snap.
Just- Ivar just grabs a handful of them and just throws them, and all of a sudden, phew, you have however many shells. How many are in a case?
Well, in this case, there's only half, so you got 15. plus the other 7, because there was one in the chamber, and one in the chamber, and the rest were actually in the loading barrel. So
Ivar just hands the gun over to Bear. Can you get the one out from inside, please?
It's open.
yeah.
But he tosses it to him because he doesn't want to touch.
Thank you.
How's Riv's gauntlets gonna work from inside the vac suit?
Yeah, they aren't inhibited by anything like that. So
Could slide him on over.
yeah, could do that too if there was concern.
What is it? Jupiter's Legacy? Inside the vault. Oh shit, there's a vacuum in here. I'm screwed. I get my ass kicked.
Right, Firestorm. Is the window open? Ready to go?
Well,
Gross.
everything here seems to be in order. Dravis just looks down, and he just kind of goes, nods his head, and is like, yep. Pats his chest twice, and you see a materialization of matter all from the feet, the arms, the chest, all of it begins to form like nanites being pulled out of the air. And they just accumulate near seamless plates going all over his body, around his head, and the rest of it. And again, they have that same sort of matching aesthetic where it's the sort of innate runes kind of peering out and glowing wherever they attach and interlock. The visor is completely sealed. You don't see any kind of glass or opening, but you just see the glowing red visor here, and then it dies down to an almost imperceptible. You can still hear his voice through the actual mask, but it's got a little bit of a reverb to it. He's like, I think we're ready. Let's go, Firestorm. Crew?
All right, Ivar, with me.
Ivar ready.
You would be.
Okay, so
And you just see Ivar kind of reach into his pocket and he pulls out one of those bubble, the things you blow bubbles with. And he's got that and he's like holding the bullet like around it. And he's like, okay, I'm ready. And he just starts walking away. And you're like, you wonder where the hell he even got this thing from. It's like,
So
I
John
don't think
just
we
kind
wonder anymore.
John just kind of like nods at Riv and says, "Hey, quick jog," and then John just kind of takes off at a jog.
All right. When you leave the store, there seems to have been some sort of a deafening effect that was coming in from Ivar's initial construction of this illusory space that had nothing in it, so to speak. When that pops away, there is the sound of almost perpetual growls in the distance. There are a lot of what seem to be demonic forces in the air. They're not looking directly down, and they're at a fair distance up and away. But you guys are zigzagging through a lot of the alleys and trying to keep low and quiet, all moving on foot and not using a vehicle, which unfortunately is just kind of necessary so as not to attract a lot of attention and bring the swarms too
We're
too quickly.
1,000 meters out, or 1.5.
Yeah, you're at basically, like 1.2, somewhere in that range. And you guys have to clear the main, what looks to be like residential / market type area. It's clear that this place was housed to a fair number of people, and being the fact that it's 2.5, like damn near, just a little under half the size, or a little over half the size of, what New York would be. There was a lot of people that were here, and a lot of them are gone. And despite the devastation, you would expect a lot more bodies, but not a lot of them are visible. And the ones that are usually horribly twisted, mangled, maimed, or in other poor condition. All of which is quite horrifying to look at. But while you start moving through, you clear the first 200 meters or so with relative ease, but the sounds are starting to close in and become more intense. Not sure exactly if that's expected, but Dravis doesn't seem to be too surprised by any of this.
Would you like Ivar to move group forward a little bit, or should we continue on foot?
You just got Dravis like, let's not do anything crazy. Just keep moving. It's almost there. He actually points as you guys are coming up over the top of some of the debris that had come through. He comes over the top of it, putting you guys a little higher. There is this massive docking bay that opens up And similar to the way that the arc of the dome is a lot more compressed, this docking bay has that same feature where it's not a perfectly round arch. It's much more low. But it's still massive, pushing itself maybe 60 feet up off the ground. So there's a lot of traffic that could have moved in and out of here. But he points to that same opening. The part that's probably the most disconcerting is that when you get to the point where you can see it like this, you realize that the entire area of the dome at this part of it had collapsed at one time or another, and you're looking at naked space directly over your head. There shouldn't be any atmosphere here.
Oh. And yet there is.
Well, you said that there were so many different like gravitational wells and all that.
Yes.
So we should be in vacuum.
Yeah, the whole dome should be in vacuum, but you guys are breathing air just like it's normal.
All right. I think this is where we stop and two of you move on.
Almost.
Is Ivar's danger sense telling him anything that is coming in imminently in any direction?
Kind of everywhere. A little less to your left, but mostly everywhere else.
The left is pretty safe at the moment. Everywhere else we're fucked.
Fuck.
And it's like, yep, you're not wrong. So you guys go moving into the mouth of this docking bay terminal, and you start moving down it. At this point, Dravis kind of starts picking up the pace and moving at basically 3/4 speed of a run. He's just like going as fast as he possibly can. Outward ahead, there seems to be a blockage, but there's a little bit of light that's coming through it, and you can tell that the docking bay must have collapsed. The terminal must have fallen inward. When you guys get maybe about 100 feet away from that, there's an opening that's large enough for a few people to get through, but nothing else. Past this point, roughly 50 to 60 meters out, pure vacuum. Once you reach that point, don't release the mask.
What happens if we were to open up this rubble right here and make it easier to pass through?
It depends on how you want to work your strategy, Ivar.
Ivar's going to do a tactics roll to see if the idea of what we did, where John and Ivar had shimmied the doors when we were in the underground, if that would work here or if that would be ultimately a bad idea.
Tactics, you say?
And Barrick's tactics role in there is basically to find the best perch from which to shoot.
Well, it'd be nice to have a little bit of cover, for sure, because you'll be probably taking projectiles, and you guys are stuffed into a pipe.
Yeah.
So, at that point, you're just kind of thinking up, maybe I could use some of this rubble if Ivar is going to go bonkers.
So
I could use that to create certain kinds of cover.
John looks at Barrick and says, "Barrick, would you like cover?"
Well, yeah. If you guys are gonna clear this, if you could set it up here.
What would you? He says, what would you like? Optimal. So John's gonna do a tactics roll, and then he's gonna use matter to create barricades or barriers for.
Well, would you like, since Ivar kind of was looking at this and he's kind of hearing this, to be almost like Ivar moves the debris and relocates it, and you help him sort of tactically set it up? We're gonna move this rock right here. Is that a wise move based on what we're looking at here with our tactics rolls?
If you create basically a minor labyrinth of debris where they have to go around or crawl, or give you guys advantage where they basically have to try and zigzag their way in or crawl up and over stuff, anything you can do that to obstruct their movement. Nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, basically, Ivar, we're looking for an obstacle course.
You want it? You got it. How difficult would it be for Ivar to almost pull this debris out and almost kinetically move it around and drop it in strategic locations?
You should be able to manage that fairly quickly, and the other thing is that you actually see with that, and you have Dravis looking over at Barrick and is like, all right, I like the idea you guys have.
What's the target?
Barrick is happy to
7.
just pick up rubble too.
Yep. Well, Dravis goes over, picks up one of the stones, massive freaking piece of rock, and just starts like, more or less just kind of shot puts it down the terminal, and starts basically
Barrick's
doing the
gonna
same
pick
thing.
one up that's slightly bigger
Yeah, Ivar wants to pick them all up
and push
chuck
it a little
them
bit
and
farther.
have them land in almost this like geometric design that benefits the group.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I'm gonna roll strength feat.
Ivar's just waiting for his target. He needs to know what his target is, and then he's gonna will this motherfucker.
That's actually a pretty good strength feat.
Nice.
What's your
It's
body
just, like,
anyway? I can't remember.
23.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're right on par. You actually managed to do that. It's straining, but you do it. You got Dravis looking over at you,
just
it's like,
hear the sense of like the hydraulics like kick in.
yeah.
You know, it surprised me that Barrick at this point is not looking at that going, huh. He's just like,
Well, I want it to be like that series. So Dravis picks one up that's big, and pushes it, and then Barrick walks over and is like, picks up a bigger one, and then Ivar goes, it just does them all.
what's the target for Ivar?
7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
8 degrees of success.
So this is the Ivar we need.
Yeah. Not the one we deserve, though.
The fucking dice are waking up. This is ridiculous. All right. So you guys set it up to where there is just a scattered field of large debris. It doesn't. There's obviously a lot of debris in the terminal because when you're looking at the other hole, you're trying not to destabilize it and block your exit out. Because that's the big thing. Accurate. But you're the way that it's all set up now is that you guys have your own subtle perches where you could be. So you're going to be hanging out at the wall because it means that your field of fire can pan straight across and you cut off any kind of return fire. That way you're not taking it from both sides.
So we're basically laying down crossfire without us being in any way harmed by it.
You're going to basically try and be at a point where you guys can lay down fire or do kind of, damage to targets coming in while not being standing right in the dead center of the terminal, which is going to be where you can take both angles of fire from anywhere else on the other side. So
just quick question on logistics. Anything that wants to get to John and Riv must go through us, or are there other ways they can get to them?
Well, at this point, based on the briefing from beforehand, you're certain that they will retaliate once things start to move out that way, because it seems that they're always hyper aware whenever somebody leaves the dome. So that's one of the major points, which that was said in the in the back scenes. But the thing about that is that Dravis, according to his own reports, mentioned that there were deadlier things on the outside as well. So what you're basically going to do is act like a stopper to prevent the massive swarm that's going to come through this terminal to come after them. You're taking one part. They have to handle the rest.
Got it.
Deal with the dangerous things.
Ivar just looks over at Dravis and goes, "Do you know what these things are sensitive towards? Like makes them really, really blow up really easily."
You're asking who?
I'm asking Draven.
Dravis? Okay.
Dravis.
Yep. He looks over and he's like, he holds his hand out and you can see the revolver appear there in the same exact way. He ends up doing a minor check. He's like, anything that would be considered divine or holy is definitely something very damaging.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Ivar, if you want to try and copy these, and he's gonna, if he's got, shotgun shells, he's gonna pull out some of his sunflower rounds, and
Ivar would like to
Ivar.
manifest his true faith into like a cork of true faith, and amplify it out so that anything coming down that path is running through not my normal 10 feet thing, but almost like a river of divine true light. To almost be like a blinding light of divinity.
So you'll be able to swell the field in and of itself. Like you could probably completely surround the area in and around yourself and your teammates. You should be able to pull that off. But you'd be covering hundreds of meters well outside your range if you're going to try and cork the whole thing off.
Yeah, no, whatever Ivar can do, he's trying to get it. Like, Barrick holds out these bullets, and Ivar goes, "Those are cute." And all of a sudden, you just see Ivar lighting up, and you get this sense of holiness coming from him.
Yeah.
As he's going to, in a sense, amplify his true faith.
All right.
Would that still be a target 7?
This one's actually going to be an 8, only because you're trying to push and suspend.
Five degrees of success.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
You're just rocking it tonight.
All right, so you're able to push your field 60 feet in all directions from yourself. That is where that winds up. Which means that you cover it up to the ceiling at the very least. Because you're pushing it out. And now, of course, it's a little lopsided if you go to one side of the terminal because it's much wider. So if you're hanging out with somebody who's less of it, it's one of those things. You probably want to hang out with Barrick, all things considered. Or at least in his general proximity.
Ivar just kind of walks over to Barrick. "Those are nice. They will do trick. Ivar got that too." And you just see this sense of like peace come around you, almost like that feeling you get when it's a hot day and you walk into like a church and there's like that coolness. Shall we?
And it's like, I'm ready. He looks over at John and Riv and he's like, we're good to go.
Let's do it.
And he just goes, yay. And then he just starts running.
Right, you were also like pushing back into the entrance point because he's going bwang, and you're like, like you're trying to stay the hell out of that.
So
Yeah,
the
so-
True Faith fires off here. Is that like a siren almost to everything around?
It would be more visual, probably felt. If they would feel a disturbance,
Right.
Yeah, they would definitely feel a disturbance more or less. The funny thing is that it doesn't really do damage unless they like touch him. But it stops them from wanting to go any further. But if they try to do any kind of like mental psychological effects or anything that directly affects his body, so any kind of indirect damage if it were being attempted would fail automatically. So they have to use basic direct damage attacks that would like go through that field to cause him harm. All right, so you guys start to head out.
Yup. We're
All right.
going on kick up John's awareness. Or actually, are we going into combat sense right now?
Yeah, it'd be good because you've got Firestorm. It's like, Arnold's like,
So,
what is going on over there? There seems to be a bit of a fluctuation, more so than usual.
Yeah, that would be yes.
plus.
Well, you're attracting a lot of attention. It doesn't seem to be moving, though. I guess it's in the terminal? I can't really tell with these cameras.
30. Combat sense awareness.
Good.
Dang.
Helps to be paranoid.
Yep.
Uh-oh, music shift.
Yep.
We must have just walked into the level, the part of the bosses. This is the
Well,
moment you stop in the game and you
Did
put all
it
your
just
healing
quick
potions
save?
on.
Oh, look at all these ammo crates and healing packs. Oh, crap.
I always wanted a video game the moment that music switched, you just started getting fired at by the villain. Like, you didn't have that time to prepare, like, you're on. But I never got it.
Well, you're moving through the entryway and out of the dome, right? So it shrinks at points and becomes wider. It's obviously an irregular aperture because there's no way to predict how the debris would come down. When you come out of that, it comes up this slight ramp, and it's almost claustrophobic as you go pinching through this like minor hole in all of that rubble. You come out and you see the alien expanse of the Phobos moon in all of these directions with, like the majesty of Jupiter sitting right in front of you. This massive planet. And its immensity can't even be measured. You're just looking at that. and looking down at the cool gray sandy moon surface, and you're moving down and out, and when you take a look at that, you don't hear it, but you feel it, because there's all of a sudden that sound just drops dead. There's nothing there. You can, like your own breath suddenly becomes tremendously loud on the inside of your own helmet because everything outside can't even feel the reverberation of it anymore. So you guys are moving down, and you feel more susceptible to that lighter gravity. Dogs have to screw everything up. Anyway, but you're feeling more susceptible to that lighter gravity, and you're kind of buoyantly dropping down to where you need to be, and you've got the heads-up display showing you exact coordinates, and you've got to start making your move out there as quick as possible, because you can see movement in the sands just from that pale sunlight hitting down on the various craters and pits that are all over the place.
He goes, Riv, move faster. Eyes right, eyes left. And then as he's doing that, we're gonna use 5 Arete to do a correspondence shift.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're at 31 SFR. What's my difficulty?
Just gonna be a 7 at this point because you're trying to shift move, in a direction, yeah?
Yeah, so basically he's splitting into 2 personalities that are encased in biosuits. Right?
There's nothing to do what we're doing, but goddamn, this is hilarious.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, well, test dummy porn definitely takes the win at the earlier point.
Okay, so you said it was a difficulty of 7?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Did he just need like 1 success? Shit.
No.
No, it's not going to happen. So it doesn't happen. He doesn't have the ability to concentrate through it.
Nope.
Well, that was a waste.
So we're moving along.
Alright, moving on.
The music just kicked it up a notch.
All right, so you guys are just slowly drifting down to get to your position as fast as possible. From the inside of the terminal, as they're making their way out, Firestorm, of course, is keeping everyone apprised. It's like, oh, looks like the away team is nearly there. I imagine that they're probably going to be meeting hostiles soon. And you've got incoming, end of the terminal. When you hear him say that, there are shadows that are starting to emerge in and around the mouth of the terminal. And then 1, then 2 skittering across, 1 up on the ceiling, 1 towards the, the left wall, and they all start to come in, and it's kind of like this trickle, and then suddenly becomes much more thick as it goes along. These demonic creatures begin to come in like a flood. All of the rest of that light that was incoming from that terminal becomes sort of scattered. And then you start seeing the pinpoints of light as they emerge up, and then the onslaught of fireballs and projectile fire start coming your way. You're muted,
Get
sir.
up.
They are.
You're good now.
Who's muted?
You were.
Okay.
You were talking. I didn't hear anything.
So they're very nicely creating tracer rounds for themselves
Yep.
by lighting up their fireballs.
Yep.
All right, Ivar. Time to make the donuts.
Let me know if you want any defensive things put up, otherwise we start firing.
Yeah. So you said that this rifle has a range of 600 feet.
Yep. That's its effective
As
range.
soon as they're,
Yep.
as soon as they're at like 650 feet, Barrick's just gonna start connecting the dots.
All right. So they've got a bit of a step there at this point, so you're going to want to make yourself as small as possible. Ivar, If you've got anything defensive that you want to throw up, because at this point they're all kind of hunkered down, and you're feeling the
Ivar
impacts
wants
and
to
explosions.
His defense is bringing up the standard reflecting back, but part of that reflection is he wants to take it up a notch and almost create an illusion as if Barrick and Ivar are nowhere near where we're at. We're actually somewhere else, and create that illusion that even if he's firing, those fires could be illusionary. They look more real than we do.
Right, he's trying to create a sense of disposition.
Correct. But he's also wanting to add in that his mirror reflection where he sends anything back. So this I think is going to be complicated because he's still holding up his holy fire. So what am I looking at? Is this
In terms of that, I would say you're probably pushing about an 8, but because you have a persistent effect that you're trying to manifest it the whole time, just means that you'll have to get a certain number of successes. So,
okay?
Target 8. The dice continue to roll the way they've been for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
He barely made it.
3 degrees.
Yeah.
Was that
Barely
enough?
made it. Barely.
All right. Ivar just sits there because he's trying to do all these different things. I think I got the idea. And then all of a sudden, Barrick looks over and there's Barrick and Ivar, and he thinks that's him because it's real enough. That's not us, but they'll think it is. It's good enough. And then there's this sort of that illusion of that reflective dome around us. Don't worry, I think I know what I'm doing. And you just see the sweat starting to pour out of Ivar.
Got that flop sweat going.
Classic Ivar. All right, well, so the concentration of fire definitely deviates. So you basically are undercover, and they're kind of slamming into this. I gotta see if there's any chance that any of them would actually get a lucky shot.
Did they miss so badly they hit the real us?
No. But, at first they're here, and then you guys kind of, shift over this way, right? So the concentration of fire is actually drawn away from where you're at, and trying to pout. They're reacting exactly the same way that you guys would. And, and you've got Dravis just kind of down on one knee watching the whole thing. You can see his breathing is almost non-existent, his chest is not even rising and falling. But you're sitting there waiting with anticipation. They finally reach that range. I just need to get, since you guys are going to be doing it in this particular way, I don't even need a combat sense awareness to see who goes first. But go ahead and pull that trigger, Barrick.
Alright, so what am I rolling?
You're going to roll on your usual gun kata. The only thing is you're going to use your rifle rank instead of your handgun rank.
Perfect, okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Yep.
So, 20...
Are you doing bursts or full fire? Full auto fire?
Actually, let me do a tactics to see what looks like it would be better. If I have any sense of doing 3, 3, 3, 3, or just, full
Right
auto.
now, because of the concept.
I'm aware of how.
Yeah. Right now, enemy density is so bad that full auto is probably your best shot. You want as much damage going downwind as possible.
Yeah, then I'll do the full auto. How do you want me to roll if I'm doing 30 shots?
You just roll once, because you're just taking
Okay.
basically those shots all at once with one pull of the trigger.
So, 27 with the rifle.
That is hellaciously good. This thing sucks. Alright, so you wait for that 650 foot point, and you're like, okay. And you just squeeze the trigger back, and you can see the reticle that's right here shift colors just slightly, and you can see the highlighted variants as they all come across. So the moment you're actually squeezing that trigger, you've got hostile targets in highlight. And then you watch as the 2.5 foot long muzzle flash out the end of this thing just starts making a big noise. And you're just it comes right out at rapid speed. Yeah. But the bolts are moving fast enough. It basically just look all tracer rounds. But these bolts must be coming out the size of boulder marbles. Like with how.
Jesus.
But you're just like, there's no recoil at all. So you're just laser beaming this stream of fire. And yeah, it's doing severe damage. Every time they make one or two impacts, it's actually doing enough that it's like melting flesh and armor, doing all kinds of like terrible things. You actually see some of it, the heat from the impact and the rest of it causes the organs and the brain and the body to actually somewhat burst whenever it makes contact.
Damn.
Yeah. So what do the creatures look like that are attacking us?
Well, they are the same, almost like what you had originally fought from before, just massive numbers of them. Brown, leathery, almost glossy skin. They have multiple sets of eyes. They're lipless, pretty much. And they've got jagged teeth with large claws and slightly oversized arms. So, yeah, and they usually run on all fours, it looks like, but they're having to navigate through all the different debris to kind of make it, slowing them down, but also making them targets. And they seem to not care at all. And like, so the flood incoming. And I've got my own sheet here. Let's see. Yep. Oop, that's not one of you bad boys. Nice. God damn. So, well, Dravis just looks over to where you're at. He waits just a little longer, and while you're standing there laying down that fire, he starts to cover you. And he just kind of pulls up. Anytime one manages to squeeze just barely past because you're too focused on, some of the other targets, you see him pop off, and that revolver fires once. You can hear a hissing crackle out the end of it, and it almost sounds like thunder. But when he fires it, there's a red bolt that comes right out, and it just annihilates the target.
Nice.
So he does that, but he's like he's just basically taking shots at any of the stragglers, so you can focus on your center line of fire and not worry about the stragglers that they're coming around.
That is a nice piece.
I mean, it's just like,
Because I have no recoil, so I'm just like,
yeah, yeah, and all. And he's just sort of like, thanks, I like it too, and he just takes another shot. And of course, you've got Ivar going, "Ah!" Trying to be Sunbeam everywhere. All right. Throughout comms with some of these strange interactions between back and forth, you can hear the fire, the gunshots, the rest of it through your comm links. When you guys are moving out and through, you've got several pinpointed dots of what look to be some of the same types of demons that you had originally seen before. They're hovering, limbless, big mouth, single eye, whole covered in what look to be like horns, like from the top down, and you can see the flares of blue flame starting to kind of ignite, almost like they are their own stars at a distance, and they're beginning to launch their own fire at you. And this is when Riv and John are trying to make their way out.
So that's what we see, or they see.
That's what you guys see. You and Riv are out there moving along, and you kind of see that there are these strange floating demonic forces that are starting to come this way, similar to the ones that you guys had originally seen from just before taking the lift.
So we're in a debris field that's in an anti-gravity environment, correct?
Low gravity because of Phobos. Yeah,
low gravity.
Yep.
So
And we're in a vacuum right now.
and we're in a vacuum as well. So he's got the bar in his hand, and he's just gonna whirl his hands like this, like he's generating like wind, but he's not.
Yep.
He's just orchestrating the debris. He says, "Riv, I don't care what you do, don't run away from me unless you want to die." And then he's just being very direct about that statement. And as he's doing that, you just see he's going to try to move the debris in ever-encompassing faster and faster circles, and then blast it out into all the targets. So, I don't know, the Expanse.
Yeah. Target 8, my friend. Let's see what you got.
So we're going to use 5. Okay, so it's 31. Okay, so we're at 26. The target 8.
Target 8, sir.
Okay, so he's going to use 3 luck.
Okay.
One to negate that. One to negate that one, and then to bump those up to 2 successes.
Okay. That will be
He's-
good enough for now. Luckily enough, the lack
Good
of
enough.
friction from non-atmosphere helps.
Yeah,
39 D.
so he's got 2 degrees of success. So essentially, he's just basically taking all the debris around them, creating like a vortex, and then blasting it out into the void at those targets.
How many were there?
They weren't necessarily like you saw 4 or 5, but there could have been more.
Yeah, so he's
Over,
just like,
over comms,
he's
you
doing-
hear Ivar shouting, "Get to my head!"
Go ahead.
So I guess he gives Ivar access just as he's about to blast out. He gives Ivar access, I guess.
No, he's talking to himself. He's like, "Get out of my head!" Like,
Oh, okay. So he does that, and then he's just doing a shotgun effect. So if there's targets that are there, it's gonna hit them.
yeah.
It's a massive field of debris.
Yep. Well, it's not going to be hard to break the low gravity scenario either. So with that much force, they'll break outside of the gravity field eventually, and they could, without friction to slow it down, it's very difficult to see them doing anything less. You get minor like contact points where some of the actual flaming like blue balls of flame hit the sand, disperse into these vast plumes, much larger than what you would get with like the standard Earth gravity. But they're nowhere near you. You can see a lot of those pinpointed blue lights just kind of go dim for a minute, and you guys are moving along. Firestorm inside of both of your heads is like, for Riv and John. How far away from you the target?
Far away.
10 feet, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Or her.
We were close last time we
Yeah.
talked.
Yeah, you guys had pushed up and through. You've only got maybe 50 meters or so.
How many more meters do we have?
49 and counting down.
Halfway there.
And it's like, do try to hurry. I suspect that there's going to be a lot more coming in through that terminal.
Running.
Yeah, we're moving.
It won't take long. Yeah, so you guys push up to that main point, and then you've got right where your HUD just goes, points whoop, like that, and you can see the target point for where the rod is supposed to be.
And John is going to jam that straight into the ground.
All right.
Insert. Turn.
So you're like, boom, like that. So it just goes, there's only a little puff of sand that comes up, and you manage to shove it down to its halfway mark like you're supposed to.
And then he goes, and he who would pull the sword from the stone. Okay, that's a bad idea.
It's like, strange how you have a sense of humor in these types of things. Anyway, but you've got Riv now, so you're holding and you make contact and you make that statement even though you're jesting and you've got, Firestorm chattering. You go like that and then you feel the kinetic, force of the energy as it finally completes this massive circuit.
And he starts the chant.
Mm-hmm. And you can feel the entirety of what it is. There was a 6-pointed star that obviously was in mental construction for this, because you can start to feel how the energy is intercoursing between everything else. And it goes through the dome, putting everything at its center. It's perfectly geometric. And there's a secondary hexagon outer barrier that also connects. So you have the 5 points of the star, and then you have the outer boundary that goes around it in a hexagonal form. So it's just holding that in place, and then you have to sit there and you have to chant. When that happens, the inside of the terminal, there is this like there's this rumble going through. It even causes Ivar to kind of like shudder a little bit, even though he's already preoccupied. But you got, like Dravis just kind of turns his head for a moment, pops another shot. He's like, I think they got it. Did you get it? Like, not to anybody in particular.
Yep, we're in.
And it's just like, then hold on to your shit. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but we'll cover. When that ripple effect occurs, because you can see the reverberation as it goes out, especially from the outside, there are rumblings from below the surface of the Phobos moon. And you don't know what that is, but I'll let Riv roll a check to see what's going on.
What kind of check? Combat?
Combat sense awareness, yes.
It's a hive worm god.
Ride it. Ride it like they ride it in Dune. Just ride that worm.
All right.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. You do see something rather large out in the periphery, in the horizon, near the outside of the dome, probably 900 kilometers out. Oh, not 900 kilometers, sorry, that would have been ridiculous. But 900 meters is what I meant to say. Like, about 900 meters out, there's something that is definitely coiling and starting to, like, respond to the sudden change of what's going on. Anyway,
Can I react to that?
yes, you can definitely react to it. You're going to have to try and figure out what you're going to want to do or how you're going to prep for its arrival, because it's definitely going to be coming.
Oh, I've been prepping
Yep.
since we've been running.
Yep.
I've been using my runes.
Yep. What all
I've got a
have you
Nova
got?
Fireball.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was able to overload one of my abilities.
Supercharged
The
it.
way that I imagined it in my head is that instead of going all Goku on them, where I just do a big fireball, that I'm gonna start the first 3 fireballs and then start spitting them over my head, kind of like a lasso,
Mhm.
and then I use my other hand and do the other 3, and then they all merge together and then fire it off.
All right.
Ooh, I like that. Just that.
Well,
Yep.
the other reason she's doing it is because she's being cognizant she's wearing a suit, so she doesn't want to just burn everything on her.
Right.
So she's just controlling it outside of her.
I'll melt my suit. That should be good.
She's not an idiot. Most of the time.
Impulsive.
Oh, I said it was Jupiter
Yeah.
from before. It's freaking Mars.
It's Mars, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That
know.
was an idiotic thing. I was thinking Jupiter
It's actually
anyway.
because Drew said Jupiter's.
It must have been something like that. I just
whatever.
traced it
Legacy.
over. Yeah, but it is Mars. It is not Jupiter.
So whenever it's close enough to for that to hit, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Right, you're basically
So-
getting this whole thing prepped. So you've got these orbs of fire just like going around over the top of your head, and you're
Which looks
basically
pretty cool.
hmm Well, you've also got Firestorm, who's got a vague readout of whatever's going on over there, and it's like, you people are weird. And what sounds like, and then so Barrick is like, Barrick, Dravis, Ivar, you've got incoming of cyber demons. You're gonna want to get the hell out of there, or at least find some way to get cover. And you got Dravis is sort of like, are you serious? Like he's like, yes, deadly serious.
The hell's the cyber demon?
Oh, and he's just sort of like a
That.
fucking shitstorm of trouble like that, and he just basically stands up. We can't be inside of this thing; it'll just blow us to pieces.
All right, can we retreat?
And it's like, we can go through the aperture. Yes.
Wait, is there no atmosphere on the other side of that?
And he's just sort of like, after a certain point, yeah.
All right.
Would you like Ivar
And
to create
we-
atmosphere around us once we get through?
And it's just like, if you can do that, yeah. Like that, he starts moving through the hole.
All right.
Um,
and behind us is clear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Ivar's gonna let everything kind of like go, but he wants to create around us almost a bubble of tranquility, a vacuum, so that we can move as a unit and we are protected in a bubble that, it's large enough to give us space, but small enough that Ivar can maintain it with relative ability. Exactly.
Let's go Glinda Bubble.
Right. So
What's the target?
that is going to be, since you're dropping everything else, it's going to be a 7. You've got Dravis going to be moving in first because he'll be able to identify when vacuum begins. Wow, that's some good shit right there.
Dude, Eric's just gonna like fire, continue.
Yep.
Fire
If you put Ivar in the
as they
center,
do that.
yeah, you can kind of do that
Yeah.
whole thing and keep it there.
It's almost a line.
Yeah.
Group, and Ivar just creates this bubble around us.
Yep. So you
That's-
guys start moving through. He's focused at your back, watching everything and walking forward. Barrack is walking backwards and keeping everything outside of that.
There he is.
Nope.
Nope.
Who, me?
You're dying. Your stream is dying.
Well,
You're good
Fine
now.
It's
okay,
fine.
good.
You're
Oh!
gesturing and then you like dab.
Brip,
and
brip,
that's
brip, brip, brip. Yeah.
It's really funny.
I hope that showed it up that way, but it's not gonna because it's recording my stuff. That sucks. Yeah. All right. So what you got is you've got, like I said, Barrack is walking backwards, gun forward, so that he can maintain, rear guard. You've got Dravis on the other side walking forward and monitoring anything from that angle. You guys are moving in that pod formation. He's like, you're gonna want to seal that thing off if you can somehow. Hey, Ivar, can you do something to pinch off the entrance? We don't want to catch a stray rocket.
And Ivar, as he's holding the bubble, takes his hand and just goes like this.
Okay.
And that's the motion of whatever needs to get pinched gets pinched.
Oh, the big pipe thing we were in.
Well,
Yeah.
specifically the aperture that you guys are moving through, because it's super tight
Right.
and it's just rubble, but you guys
Yeah.
are moving straight through it. But he's saying, like, if you could just close that off, because,
What's the target while he's still maintaining the vacuum?
so in this case it's going to be an 8. Go for it.
2 degrees.
That's
Yeah.
good enough. Yep. So
And you leveled up.
it goes, I know, right? It's fucking perfect. Anyway, so the rubble and debris suddenly just crumbles inward from massive force, and of course you don't have to correct anything with that. It'll stay the same, but it seals everything off, and he's just sort of like, okay, let's go. All right. So we're going to be crawling through this in tiny little claustrophobic tunnel through the rubble, and it's going to be like up and over and through a bunch of shit. And when we start to come out, we'll end up seeing this with Riv, who is like, you've got one individual, John, standing with his hands on this post. Kind of looks like a silvery fence post. He's standing there like this, and there's like energy just draping off and all around him, like there's an aura about 8 inches off of his body, and it's just coursing up and around. He's busy. Like, you can see him just locked tight, and there's obviously some kind of incantation happening, but he's not using his comms. Then you have Riv, who is basically powering up these fireballs over the top of her head, and this thing finally comes within range. It's not on the ground, it's actually floating in the air, but it's going like this, like a serpent through the air, and it's got massive bone and articulated structures all across its body, no limbs, massive open maw, and you can see this shredded, kind of like almost like it was supposed to hang, but they're almost like these god-awful rotting streamers just coming out from in between all of the segments. And it is like coming straight for Riv.
Well, I just got exploding dice when I did my Nova. So, fuck
Boy, this
you.
dice really loves fucking cinema, doesn't it?
It loves Doom.
Well, I
Doom
feel
dice.
like it seems like this dice every time that we like, instead of us just like I attack. If we do that, we get a 1. But if we like, okay, we're gonna make it as cool as fucking possible, then it's like, okay, you get it.
It does provide for comic relief every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So I ended up
she
getting
goes
a
like this
31.
and just basically slides them together, goes like that, and big, almost like a small sun, just kind of like collects above her head and vaults straight forward at the target with incredible accuracy into its open maw.
I actually didn't write down what my fireball did for damage, but it does triple damage on Nova Fireball.
Right. And you can cast how many fireballs at once, anyway?
I mean, the Nova, I consume all of my fireballs to triple the damage.
Right.
So normally I can do 3 though.
Right. And so you said 6, or did you mean 3?
Well, so the way that I'm doing an overload. This is my first overload.
Yeah.
The way I imagine it is that she takes 6 and turns it into one big one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah.
Anyway, if you've conjured up 6 actual fireballs, like if you're able to do that, fine. I just want to know if you can. Like if
Well, I was trying. This is where you can tell me as the DM what the right thing to do here is. But when I cast fireball, I can fire 3 of them at once, right? Or I can fire 3 per cast. So I cast it twice, which I overloaded it, and I decided to make it, instead of me just like combining it all and then shooting it all, I made it so it metaphysically looked like I had 6 floating around.
All right, no problem.
So,
But either way, I just need to know what the actual number of fireballs you can summon at once could be. And the damage for those balls are...
I've got magic bull. I don't think I wrote it down. Let's see. Like when we went through all of our power the like 3 weeks ago or whatever, I don't think I wrote down how much damage fireballs do.
I believe I remember what they were, because they were up there. I think they were 45 a whop. So
My magic bolts do 56,
Yeah.
so I imagine a fireball will do much more than that, right?
I was thinking like 100.
well, fireballs in this case, they are kind of static, because like your magic bolts, they go up with the level of your gauntlets and become more powerful
that's
over
true.
time. Your fireballs were just kind of like there, and unless you like get something that bounces them up, they themselves don't level up in a nested sense. They're a non.
I should add how much they do. How much
Like I
damage
said,
they
I
do
believe it was 45. That's what my memory is telling me. Is they were 45 a whack, and that's pretty significant. So,
then. And they're probably AP mundane, right?
yeah. So the biggest thing here is that you've got 3 fireballs at triple damage, because what you're doing is combining them together. It's using all of them, and then tripling that damage over the top for one big
Oh, I see what you're
wallop.
saying.
Yeah.
405.
Yeah. So it creates this.
So instead of, I get it. Okay.
Yep. That's why I needed to know how many. So
Yeah,
it goes like that, just piles all together. You guys come out of there, and you can see like Dravis is just kind of like lightly hopping down. He's just sort of like, damn, like, and goes right up into the thing's mouth, causing a massive disruption. You don't hear the like rumbling explosion. You feel the like that from the shockwave coming out. The top, the head and the body completely disintegrate at the front, leaving the corpse to just headlessly dive directly into the sand of the moon. Like, just goes like that. The tail comes up and over the top and just kind of rolls together. And you can see this incredible amount of just pluming smoke. And there are chunks of debris that are going way up there. Some of them not really going to come back. It's like, okay, she's a pretty good threat. Like, that just goes walking down.
That was awesome.
Yep. It's like, that won't be the end of it, and we're probably going to have some other problems.
How long does this thing need to charge?
And he's just sort of like, just watch. And you can see the aura around John is becoming tighter and tighter and tighter. And then you can see like the pinpoints of all the different demonic entities and creatures sort of like beginning to become more manifest. There's like some breach on the other side of the dome they're probably kind of starting to come through. And then you can feel the reverberations of impacts coming from the terminal. It's like everything wants to get here now.
Stop what's going on. Is Ivar just seeing, now that he's up more close to this, just in his general sense of knowledge, is this something that Ivar's like, no, this is impressed?
In terms of like the creatures or the situation?
No. The arcane forces that are being put at play right here.
It's kind of impressive.
This is good shit.
Yeah.
Where did you learn this?
And it's like, I didn't. Firestorm gave him the instructions. He's kind of a different thing. It's hard to explain.
Ivar just looks at Beric. We need to keep that one.
And it's like,
Can
everybody
you,
says
bring
it.
him with us when we leave?
Keep that one what? Keep Firestorm?
Yes, he seems to know really good stuff.
Well, when I asked, he did indicate he would be interested in leaving.
Did he like reside in your head?
We'll figure that out later.
You can get a Cortana.
He's like Jarvis and Ultron, all put together.
All right, so you just get this like across in your comms as you guys are coming up here, and like devastation. This finally gets down to about right about here, and where the rod is now beginning to pick up that same glow of energy. John, in your mind, you feel like you're an electric wire because you're just basically holding on to that and basically holding it in. Whoever it was that was originally supposed to like, wow.
And you all died.
It did jig out. It did jig out, man. Like everybody was like, beep 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 beep.
And then you saw us all did.
Yeah.
You see us all?
Yeah, because you guys got frozen, and then you guys all came back like this.
Because that's how you got frozen.
Oh, we're still frozen on the stream on Twitch.
No!
Oh, no.
Wake
Oh,
up,
no, now
stream.
it's back. Oh,
Okay.
I love it. It was good. Well, there's a delay.
All right, so you guys are approaching at this point. The energy is beginning to narrow down. Firestorm hits everybody's comms. It's like, I don't know what that is, but it's coming your way and fast. And you know, you're all kind of turning. There's another big rumble, and you can see something of like a golden, like some kind of like a golden light, and it's moving, and you can see it come from out of the opposite side of the dome, where, you know, because there seems to be kind of a flood happening more towards your 3 and 2 o'clock as you're looking at the dome. So more at the 10 o'clock side, you see this glint of something gold, and it starts to move, and it's like, yep, that's coming quick. And it's like, Beric, can you get a look at it? Like,
Does Ivar sense danger from this gold thing?
fuck yes.
Ivar just goes, fuck yes, this is fuck. We're fucked. We're all gonna fucking die. What the fuck did we get into?
You're with your telescopic vision, you can see the blonde hair, the strange kind of like gnarled looking kind of scarring that had come from whenever he had originally left. And he doesn't look quite completely human anymore. And he's out in atmosphere with no suit on. And he's just blazing this trail in your general direction.
Copperfield's coming to say hi.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Copperfield.
And it's like, this is who? This is what? Wait, the original threat you guys were all talking about when you got here?
Yep. And apparently he doesn't need an Atmos suit.
And he's like, nah, because he's definitely demonic. Look at him.
Did I get my shoebox out?
I mean, you see, like, Drapes just pulls up his revolver, so like, oh, fuck this guy. Like, that starts taking aim. So,
That's about right.
How's John?
you're holding it, like, right there in the center of your body at this point. Like, it's almost like here, centered at the chest, and you're holding it that way, and it's flowing through the arms and into the rod. It's almost there. You're nearly finished.
I have a quick Colt.
Can John activate his regeneration while he's doing this concentration?
Well,
Actually-
hold on before you do that. Ivar has a quick occult he wants to study. 29, and then it's an occult with a tactics roll. Ivar wants to know that if Ivar were to move next to John and put a protective shield up around John, would that fuck with the other magic?
All right, roll your occult. Let's find out. Let's see.
I rolled my occult 29. I'm going to roll a tactics roll
Okay.
next to it to almost see, like, almost logistically, will this work? What the hell's going on here? 29 occult, 14 tactical. Ivar wants to know.
You don't
if
think it will?
reality shift. Great. Ivar kind of like makes his way over to John, and he is going to try and put up the most massive defensive protection using what he knows about Copperfield to almost like displace John, protect John, make almost an impregnable
Right.
bubble around John with Ivar and John inside of it,
Right.
so that he
Oh,
can
Ivar's
almost
protecting
hold.
himself too. Oh yeah, he's still providing a atmosphere, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Can he
everybody's
do
got
that
to.
with all the...
He can. I mean, like if he pulls this off, he'll have to do his same pull check to make sure that it all manifests the way he needs it to.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got our group in there. We're all close quarters, but it's
Yeah, you've got a target. You got a target 9. I can't see it being lower. Target 9. I mean,
yeah. I agree there.
So can
If
John?
the Atmo drops, if he fails,
problems.
Yeah, but maybe you shouldn't do
Is-
that.
is Barrick suddenly in vacuum?
Yes.
We're
And
we're
Derek and
we're
Ivar suddenly in
we're
vacuum.
we're now in protect. We're basically protected by your vacuum. John has regeneration. So
Ivar just looks and he's like, John, this is what I'm trying to do. And he's like saying this out loud as if John's aware, like, should I do this?
you can feel he's still chanting, but he cocks his head, still chanting, and you can feel John's glare.
Great, Ivar's stubborn. Ivar is going to use some luck here because he just felt like it wasn't enough, but he is going to drop some luck to boost that one.
Okay. Wow.
Up, so we have at least 1 degree of success.
All right. Even with the 1 degree of success, you can feel the shrink down. The atmosphere tries to disperse whenever you're trying to make this field erupt around him, enough to where you abandon the project to keep the field up.
So can John activate his regeneration while chanting?
He can activate it at any time. It's a by will kind of thing. Like if his body needs it, he'll do it.
So he sees that John sees that he's in atmosphere.
Mhm.
So after he gets done glaring at Ivar,
As you do.
you can just see like the suit kind of bulge, and like spikes start to protrude from it, and then he's just encased in the armor. And so you just see this demonic Black Knight holding this iron rod as just energy's just rolling around him.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
And so the thing about that is that with all of that happening, Draven goes to take the shot, looks and sees you, turns around and puts the gun right to your head, and it's just sort of like, if you fuck with us, you're done. Like that, more or less, because he has no idea that you're like that.
and he still doesn't stop the chanting.
Nope.
But this time,
And Ivar looks over and goes, no!
because we're not in
John.
atmosphere,
Control.
because we're not in atmosphere and we have our own atmosphere, and he's not in the suit anymore, Draven can actually hear him chanting.
Yep.
So he's not breaking the chant.
Yep. Well, he keeps the gun trained, but he's not firing, so you know that he's paying attention to that.
And Ivar's just the whole time going, no, don't shoot John! This is one of his crazy sides that helps us!
So everybody's standing there, so he's diverted. Barrick, are you going to plan on taking any shots while he's trying to land or anything like that, or?
Yeah,
This
so
is all
Barrick
happening
wants to
really
do
quick.
is,
Yeah.
as Ivar's energy is dissipating, Barrick's going to Arcane Capacitor
Ooh.
and kind of soak up that latent energy into his new pretty plasma rifle.
Yeah, fire away, dude,
And,
fire away.
Start
I like
firing.
it. Yes.
Okay, so to will check.
You gun kata that thing, and you gun kata it well. Because Ivar's sitting there right now holding everything, and he's going, wait a second, not work. And he feels something like dragging away, and he looks over as Barrick's got this big grin. I just see a
So
big.
Barrick gets 4 successes
Ooh.
on
Jesus
his
Christ.
will check.
He's got the will. Does he have the
And-
way?
Jesus Christ.
Dude, we
Well,
got Iron
Ivar's
Will
latent
tonight.
energy, so you know. And then rifle. 25.
The
I
So
want to
you're-
re-roll that rifle. I'm gonna spend some luck and re-roll that.
Yep, you can push it up. Not gonna argue.
Yeah, 26.
Well, and yeah, so in this case,
28
yeah, it's gonna be 28 because you're adding the 3 to the original
Yeah.
number. But 28, that's still damn good. But you're like that. You basically go like that. You feel the ambient
Right.
energy come in and around, and it actually does the same thing. All of that strange circuitry lighting up, and then you've got Dravis just eyeballing you out of the corner of his eye. He doesn't know what to fucking deal with any of this. Like, he has no idea how the hell you guys are all doing these weird ass
He's
things,
trying to copy what Dravis did with the.
right?
So he's like, "Hey, it worked for you."
And so you just kind of do that, and then you pull that trigger, and you can feel the dispersion of that go through the weapon. The bolts are now coming out like that, like baseballs. And so you lay down a line. He is doing these really crazy maneuvers, and you manage to clip him with a couple of them. So he ends up going like that, buries headfirst into the sand and the dirt, and he comes whipping back out, still covered in that strange kind of like golden light of a glow, and you're basically correcting your aim and fire. John finishes the incantation, and it seals. And I gotta see real quick to find out what's going on. If Dravis is smart enough, since it's his technology. I don't roll luck on that. Alright. So it goes like that, and you feel it's like that same thing. You got Dravis going like, he did it, he did it! Holy fuck, he did it! Like that, and he turns back around, it's like, back up! Like that, and you see Adrian just looking at everybody else like that. He's telling everyone to back out to a certain range so you're on the outside of the perimeter. And
Do it.
you've got Adrian standing right on the inside of that, and he starts doing these really drawn-out motions. You can see this massive electrical field beginning to actually form between both hands. And he just basically claps his hands together, and this massive thunderbolt just goes arcing straight at everyone on this in the group. When everybody pulls back, that bolt hits some kind of invisible barrier, and you just see this like silvery ripple just going out everywhere. Nothing.
Is he? And Ivar just looks and is like, "Is he trapped in there?"
Well, he's just sort of like, I have no idea, but that worked. Like,
Yeah.
and then he's just on the inside, and he's just like watching the whole thing go. Like, can see the registration of what might just have happened.
And Ivar just shouts at him, "We just want to talk! Will you at least talk to us? Parlay! Conversation! I have vodka!"
All right. He looks to you. You can see that his limbs are a lot more lanky than what they used to be. He's still wearing the suit that he had from that day, but it's mostly torn away. You can see that the slight horn and the scarring and the rest of all of this is out there. And he just kind of looks down and like realizes he's looking at something that you guys can't quite perceive. And he just kind of like brings his hand up like this. You can see that there are swarms of various, demonic forces in the background. And when he looks over, he's like, and then just screams. He's like, "Ah! Kill that fucking idiot!" Like that, basically screaming and pointing at Ivar. And there are other entities that were not inside whenever this thing went up. And Dravis kind of looks at us like, oh, them. He means those. Like that.
Can Ivar, what is it, a lot of them?
Can't really tell because it's the inky blackness of space, and they're hovering up, and they're also against something else. You're looking towards like the planet, so you can see silhouettes that are kind of coming into view.
Is
But
there a way that Ivar almost, because Ivar just wants to talk to this guy. He wants to understand what he's done, and every time he does it, this guy wants to kill Ivar. Of almost having Ivar just like seeing those things like nonchalantly and almost like just snapping his finger the moment they come near the group and just have them all drop like fucking flies have been like their hearts just stopped or whatever. Whatever would impressively make this whole group just crumble and make this guy go, "God damn it, I hate that guy."
well, So there's a lot more than just a few, and you could do that as they are coming in, but they're also launching projectiles at you like they had been before.
And you're also maintaining the field.
Well, yeah, and
That's
you're maintaining your
keeping
atmosphere as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
That's why you.
Riv's
That's
super
why you keep the
strong,
wizard
so-
busy.
Ivar just wants to talk. Why do you not like Ivar? I did not pee on anything of yours.
Right.
What are we going to do, Barrick? We're fucked.
At this point, just from my own end, it's kind of an interesting point where we could actually stop here and continue at the next point, because there's.
We
Yeah,
gotta-
I was gonna say
I
it's
gotta be
10:30.
before.
Yep. So I got to be respectful to all of that. But yeah, you guys managed.
So for next time, Riv has super strength now, so we'll see how she uses that.
Holy shit balls, that was really interesting. Wow.
He really doesn't like Ivar. I don't understand.
That I'm really my impulsive nature. My first thought is not to attack the things that are coming at us, but to pick up a big ass rock and just heave it at Copperfield.
Yeah.
Like he's such a
Rip.
jackass.
He kind of is.
I'll probably do it. Like I'll just rely on you guys. I'll use my turn just to like, even though it probably won't hurt him. It's just like you just fucker, just pick a rock at him.
Yeah. Well, damn. I mean,
How far is Copperfield from the group?
he's probably 60, 70 feet roughly. Well, yeah, he landed within that range. So,
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna heave a rock at him and then shoot one of my bolts into the rock so it shatters and just becomes shrapnel, like a shotgun shot.
now we're getting fancy.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, I'm just doing this just for my shits and giggles, and I want to see how well it succeeds. Only 1 degree. Ivar wanted to create inside of Copperfield just a divineness in him, to almost like whatever the divine is, he wanted to put that unabated inside of Copperfield's very cells.
Just fill him up.
Just fill him with the divine.
Mhm.
Ugh.
But
Gross.
I don't know if 1 degree of success
Dirty.
would, like, rip two paths apart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was bloody impressive.
Yeah, this was a
Got to
bloody
use my
fun
arcane capacitor. Yeah, man.
We got
Ken, you're
Riv
on level
back.
5.
By the way, tonight's chapter. Where's Riv?
She's right there. She was right there the whole time.
Didn't see me, yeah.
This is Ivar naming
well,
chapters.
Following the group the whole time. Come back.
She was just trapped on a 1 degree to the left plane of existence.
I love
so
Willem
couldn't
Dafoe.
see her. What is that from? What movie is that from?
That's from Spider-Man when he was the Green Goblin, but that was an outtake.
Okay.
Well, that was an awesome session.
Yes.
I'll talk to you guys
Oh,
later.
Yeah,
I'll
I
talk
gotta
to
get
you
out of
later.
here. I'm beat.
Yep.
So I'll talk
everybody.
to you guys around.
Thanks everybody
night.
watching.